Hello, family. Welcome back to our channel. She stood firm. In the heart of the Senate chamber, where decisions that shape the nation are made, she was a beacon of resilience, a lone figure in a sea of suits. Among the sea of traditional power, her presence was a stark reminder of the voices often unheard. Senator Lidia Thorpe, a proud Gunnai, Gunditjmara, and Djab Wurrung woman, refused to yield. Her heritage, rich and deep, was her strength, her guiding light. King Charles III, the embodiment of the British monarchy, was in her country. His presence was a symbol of a colonial past that had left deep scars. Thorpe would not let this moment pass. She knew the weight of this encounter, the significance it held for her people. This was her chance to make a stand, for her people, for their history, for their pain. The pain of generations, the stories of her ancestors, echoed in her heart. The air crackled with tension. Every eye in the chamber was on her, every ear tuned to her words. Thorpe's voice, strong and unwavering, pierced the silence. She spoke of injustice, of stolen lands. Her words were not just a speech, they were a call to action, of a past that still haunted the present. The images of her ancestors, the protests, the cries for justice, all came rushing back. Her words were a challenge, a refusal to be silenced. She was not just speaking for herself, but for all those who had been silenced for too long. This was not a time for polite applause. This was a moment of reckoning, a time to face the truths that had been buried. This was a time for truth, a time to acknowledge the past, to understand the pain, and to commit to a future of justice and equality. Lidia Thorpe stood as a testament to the power of resilience, the strength of heritage, and the unyielding pursuit of justice. The grand halls of Parliament House were adorned with gilded cages, a stark reminder of the opulence and power that resided within these walls. A symbol, perhaps, of the invisible bars that still confined Indigenous Australians, whose voices echoed through the corridors of history, demanding justice and recognition. A reception was underway, a celebration of the British monarchy, a tradition steeped in centuries of colonial rule and influence. But for many, the celebration rang hollow, a painful reminder of a past that could not be easily forgotten or forgiven. The wounds of the past ran deep, etched into the collective memory of a people who had endured generations of suffering and displacement. Two worlds collided in this opulent setting, the grandeur of the colonizers clashing with the resilience of the colonized. The colonizer and the colonized, their histories intertwined in a complex tapestry of power, resistance, and survival. The powerful and the marginalized, their interactions a microcosm of the broader societal struggles that continued to unfold. Whispers filled the air as Thorpe made her entrance, a figure of defiance and strength amidst the grandeur. All eyes were on her, the room's attention drawn to her presence, a symbol of the ongoing fight for justice and equality. She wore a black dress, a symbol of mourning, a silent protest against the injustices that had been inflicted upon her people. On her hands, white paint spelled out a powerful message. Blood on your hands, a stark reminder of the historical and ongoing injustices faced by Indigenous Australians. Her expression was one of determination, a testament to the resilience and strength of her people. As the night wore on, the illuminated Parliament House stood as a beacon of both hope and division, a symbol of the ongoing clash of ideologies that defined the nation's history and future. Outside, the voices of protest continued to rise, a chorus of resistance that refused to be silenced, demanding a future where justice and equality could finally be realized. The message was clear. The fight for justice was far from over, and the clash of ideologies would continue to shape the nation's path forward. The tension was palpable. The air was thick with anticipation, every eye in the room fixed on the unfolding drama. Whispers of uncertainty and curiosity rippled through the crowd, creating an undercurrent of unease. Thorpe stood before King Charles. Their eyes met, a silent exchange of defiance and authority. The weight of centuries of history bore down on this singular moment, a moment frozen in time, a clash of histories, a collision of cultures. Thorpe did not bow, she did not curtsy. Her stance was a powerful statement, a refusal to submit to the symbols of colonial power. She stood tall, her head held high. Her posture spoke volumes, a testament to the resilience and pride of her people. It was a stance that demanded respect and recognition. "This is Aboriginal land," she declared, her voice echoing through the hall. Each word was a declaration of sovereignty, a reminder of the land's true custodians. Her words were not a whisper, but a roar. a roar that carried the weight of generations, the pain of dispossession, and the hope for justice. A roar that reverberated through the halls of power. It was a sound that could not be ignored, a call to acknowledge the past and to pave the way for a more just future. A roar that demanded to be heard. It was a demand for recognition, for respect, and for the truth to be acknowledged. This was not a time for pleasantries. The gravity of the moment left no room for superficial courtesies. It was a confrontation that required honesty and courage. This was a time for truth, a truth that had been silenced for too long, now spoken with unwavering conviction. It was a moment that would be remembered, a turning point in the ongoing struggle for justice and recognition. King Charles III had come to Australia on a goodwill tour, a chance to strengthen ties between the Commonwealth and the former colony. But his visit was overshadowed by the ghosts of the past. Australia's colonial legacy cast a long shadow. The King's itinerary included visits to Indigenous communities. He spoke of reconciliation and healing, but for many, his words rang hollow. The pain of colonization was still raw, the scars still visible. Section 5. Unsettled History, Thorpe's Indictment of the Monarchy. Thorpe's protest was a stark reminder of the unsettled history between the British monarchy and Indigenous Australians. It was a history of violence, dispossession, and cultural genocide, a history that could not be ignored. Her actions sparked a national conversation, a conversation about the legacy of colonialism, a conversation about the ongoing struggles of Indigenous Australians, a conversation that was long overdue. Section 6. Echoes of Colonization. The ongoing struggle of Indigenous Australians. Thorpe's protest resonated deeply with many Indigenous Australians. They saw in her a reflection of their own experiences, their own struggles for recognition, their own fight for justice. The legacy of colonization continues to affect Indigenous Australians today. They experience higher rates of poverty, unemployment, and incarceration. They face discrimination and racism. Their voices are often silenced. Section 7. A divided nation reactions to Thorpe's protest. Thorpe's protest divided the nation. Some praised her courage. They saw her actions as a necessary act of defiance, a powerful statement against injustice. Others condemned her behavior. They saw it as disrespectful to the monarchy. They called for unity and respect for tradition. The debate raged on, highlighting the deep divisions within Australian society. Section 8. Amplifying Indigenous Voices. Thorpe's Act of Resistance. Thorpe's protest, while controversial, served as a vital reminder that the voices of Indigenous Australians cannot be silenced. It forced the nation to confront its past and acknowledge the ongoing injustices faced by its First Peoples. Her actions were a powerful act of resistance, a refusal to be invisible, a demand to be heard. It sparked a conversation that extended far beyond the walls of Parliament House. Section 9. Calls for a Republic, Rethinking Australia's Future. Thorpe's protest also reignited the debate about Australia becoming a republic. Many Australians believe that the time has come to cut ties with the monarchy and forge a new path as an independent nation. The debate about a republic is not new. However, Thorpe's actions have brought the issue back into the spotlight. It is a debate that is likely to continue for years to come. Section 10. Reconciliation and Justice, a Long Road Ahead. Thorpe's protest highlighted the long road ahead for reconciliation and justice in Australia. It is a journey that requires honesty, empathy, and a willingness to confront the past. It is a journey that requires listening to the voices of Indigenous Australians and working together to create a more just and equitable future for all. Section 11. Thorpe's Legacy, Inspiring a New Generation. Lidia Thorpe's defiant act will be etched in Australia's history. She has become a symbol of resistance for many, a reminder that even in the face of immense power, one person's voice can make a difference. Her actions have inspired a new generation of activists and changemakers, a generation that is determined to fight for justice, equality, and a future where the voices of all Australians are heard and respected.